Hello, this is Colton with Polk County here today on our Northwest Area Tour. This is a part of the Land and Water Association. So today we're going to be touring some of the conservation practices going on here in Polk County. Excited to have you for the tour today. Let's get started.
First stop of our project tour today. Just a quick history on the project here. This was brought to our attention back in 2020 from one of the landowners over here that Long Lake was receiving a large amount of leaves, debris, junk every year, spring runoff. We have a pretty big drainage area running back up behind us here, also to our sides of a mix of woods and ag bowls. So we had a pretty active gully winding around, crossing Tanglewood Trail and outletting into the lake.
After learning about the benefits of this rockland waterway, we loaded back up and headed on to our next site. Our next site is a non-metallic mine that has portions of it certified for reclamation. Land and Water staff went through the process of certifying a site as reclaimed and demonstrating some of the ways that is completed.
So I'll lay this transect 1, sample 1. I put this by my location, take a picture, document vegetative cover. So for this, we were looking for 70%.
With 70% being met, we concluded our stop at the mine and headed off to lunch. For lunch, we stopped at D.D. Kennedy, a county park located just south of Balsam Lake. This is where we enjoyed our lunch and had a lunchtime presentation on outreach and education. With a full belly, we headed over to Sand Lake to learn about Phragmites identification and management on Sand Lake. So currently, Polk County has 13 populations of non-native Phragmites. Phragmites is an aggressive wetland invasive species that can be up to 18 feet tall and has bluish green leaves. It also has a large bushy plume on the top that appears in the fall and persists into the winter. Phragmites is a prohibited species on the western half of the state, and Polk County is actively monitoring for and managing current known populations of Phragmites. And now it is time to head off to our final site, New View Acres, to learn about the history of the operation and how the Land and Water Resources Department has assisted with conservation practices on their farm.
So, my grandma and grandpa moved here in 1953 from right down by Maplewood Mall is where our original farm was. So they felt the squeeze of the cities and they decided to look for somewhere else. And since then we've been primarily a dairy farm. Started with, I think, about 25 cows, and just, over the years progressed. Yeah, it'd be 2 years, maybe a year and a half, we daily spread. We have a reception pit in the barn that collects 15,000 gallons, and I thought, we can spread every 3 days. But, when winter came around, spring came around, the flats out here, they flood like nothing else, So it wasn't an ideal situation. So then we started working with Eric at looking at cost sharing, putting a pit in, which that was the best thing we ever did. So we decided that in 2020, I believe, 2021, we put milking robots in.
After seeing the robot in action, we headed back outside to look at one more practice the Land and Water Resources Department assisted with. This watering station excludes cattle from nearby water resource and reduces the amount of time spent in this sensitive area. With the final stop complete, we headed back and concluded our tour. Thank you to all of those participants, presenters, and landowners that made this tour possible. By working together, we are able to preserve, protect, and enhance our natural resources for future generations.